All right, thank you for joining us. High-handedness, perpetual lateness to plenary, other legislative meetings and financial misconduct were among the reasons cited by members of the Lagos State House of Assembly for removing Mudashiru Obasa. State Assembly correspondent Abimbola Agbebi has details.
Relative calm observed on the premises of the Lagos State House of Assembly hours after the impeachment of the Speaker, Mudashiru Ajayi Obasa. Obasa, who has been in the legislature for more than 20 years and served as Speaker for 3 consecutive terms, was sacked from office on Monday morning. In the build-up to his impeachment, the former Speaker had been linked in a series of controversial situations such as alleged financial dealings, abuse of office, and gross misconduct.
Grounds for the impeachments were enormous, as provided for in the motion moved. Part of it were, alleged for gross misconduct and unruly behaviors to members. Then people feel it's high-handedness in handling the affairs of the parliament. And there were alleged misappropriation of public funds or funds. They were everywhere.
His removal was a unanimous decision by 33 members of the House, which was done in line with Section 92, subsection 2C of the Nigerian Constitution.
As a member of the parliament, we were able to have a parliamentary meetings where we, not necessarily plenary, we had a parliamentary meeting and questions were raised. But because he could not give a satisfactory answer to those questions, members feel that is absolute power corrupting him. And with this, it's not good for the image of a center of excellence to have a leader of the parliament who cannot give accounts of funds allocated to the House.
As it stands, all other principal offices and standing committees of the House have been dissolved until the proper constitution of the House at a later date. Lagos State House of Assembly has had 80 speakers steering its affairs since its inauguration on October 2nd, 1979, with Mojisola Miranda elected as the 9th and the first female speaker in its history. Obasa's impeachment became the second recorded in the history of the Lagos State House of Assembly after the removal of Joko Tolakbelumi from office on December 29, 2005.
To talk more on this developing story is Professor Anthony Kila, who is the Director, Commonwealth Institute of Advanced and Professional Studies. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Good to be here.
Great. Now, let's begin with your perception of what has transpired at the Lagos State House of Assembly. There are those who have said that this is a coup because the speaker who was ousted was not even around when this happened. And there are those who are saying that it was a long time coming because of his conduct in the past 18 months. For you, is this something that you had seen, the handwriting on the wall?
Well, I think this is something that reminds people who cannot take a long view of situation to be able to take a wider view. And what I mean is this. There are times when you point out that people can be removed, law can be changed, situation can be reversed, and some people tell you, oh, no, you're just being theoretical. I think this is a lesson for citizens and politicians to know that nothing is perpetual. Anybody can be removed. Nobody is untouchable. And I want every office holder in this country, from the president to the lowest council maker, to really know that nobody is untouchable. To the point of whether it's a coup or not, I'm personally not interested in such things. I'm interested in the process. The question is, was the process rightly followed? Are the allegations substantial? Once you can answer yes to those two questions, it would not matter. In this case, there are 3 major factors. One is the political issue. The other is administrative issue. And the third one is the legal criminal issue. Legal criminal issue is that if a man has been alleged to have misappropriated funds, we need to know the exact amount, the amount of funds that's misappropriated, and need to be investigated by the appropriate agencies. The other issue is that of misconduct. There needs to be substantial things to tell us exactly what we mean by high-handedness, coming late for meetings. They have to be documented. And I'm hoping these documents are there. The third one is the political one. When you have, I don't know if it's 32 or 38 members of your chambers vote against you, clearly that leader hasn't got the confidence of his immediate constituency anymore. He hasn't got the the confidence of the House which he shares, and they've been able to do that around him. But there's another thing we need to look at, subtly but very interestingly. These people who voted against him, are they independent lawmakers, or are they tele-guided balls and being played by somebody else? Those are the questions that we need to look at. But, it really doesn't matter. Individuals are part of what makes the institution work. That's right. But institution is what matters to us as citizens.
Yeah, Mr. Obasa has been representing the constituency, federal constituency, Agege Constituency 1 precisely. He has been there since 2007 and had become Speaker from 2015 up until his removal, his impeachment yesterday. Do you think, according to what others said, that he had assumed the position of someone that is beyond reproach? And he has the absolute power, so much so that he has so much understanding about the political development in Lagos State and even beyond Lagos State, and some of the things that he had done. Do you feel that because he'd been there for a long time, others felt threatened that he might be running for the position of governor, and based on what he said during the presentation of the budget by the incumbent Governor Sanwo-Olu, that they just want to stop him from that ambition? Is that the way you also see it as well?
Well, I think it depends on how this is played out and analyzed. I believe that his ambition to become governor is legitimate. I mean, he's a party member, he's a long-standing member. Why can't he aspire to become governor? The problem is the process. Is he that popular? Has he got consensus? Has he got an over-bloated ego of himself? Or is really, political position is not by genius. It's not your ability to do something like surgery or even build a table. It's simply your ability to gather consensus around. Whether it's the consensus of godfathers, it's the consensus of your peers, or the consensus of your constituency. It's simply about your ability to gather consensus. People should not overrate this thing of being governor or being elected to any position. They don't have any particular skills, rather than being able to get consensus of who will give them votes. So I think it's a legitimate ambition. Now, if it is possible that because he's been there that long, he has a view of himself that is not shared by other people. But I must warn us that if we want our institution to work, it is better to point out to anybody in any position every day, every time they do something wrong, rather than just wait to take them out at some point. And if we're going to take them out, it better not be for petty personal reason, but for something objective. We must keep somebody in office or remove them in office if truly they are not useful to that office, or keep them there if truly they are useful to that office. I think, that is the issue here that we should be looking at. His ambition is legitimate, but has he got the consensus? Is the process through which he's going it through is right? Let me also say here that it is possible that he's taking out his own kind of vendetta for one kind of misbehavior to one or two persons or a group of people. But I think history will look at individual members of the House of Assembly in the past 24 hours to check their own gravitas as legislators. Did they really sit down in their hearts and say, I have gone through all these things and all of us that believe it should be removed? Or were they obeying some orders which they disagree with? If they agree with those orders, that is fine. Because if they are obeying orders that they do not agree with, we're going to be in trouble again in the future. But if it is out of their knowledge and their conscience that they have said, yes, let us remove our speaker because I, as an independent legislator representing my constituency, believes he's not acting well, then yes, this is a good process. Time will tell.
All right. Chieftain of the APC, that's Fuad Oki, in an interview said that his ambition of being a governor of Lagos State is not the matter here, that there have been issues which he had been called to resolve, and the governance council of the party had also called him to resolve these matters. But let's look at the process that you have been speaking about all the while, talking about gross misconduct, which some persons have said the definition is subjective and that it has even been abused because the definition is not clearly stated in the Constitution. And when you look at the code of conduct of persons in office, there is no specific definition with regards to that. So are you saying that perhaps the process was illegal as it is, and that perhaps this might just be that the voice of Jacob and the hands of Esau is what is happening here?
Oh, I definitely believe in the voice of Jacob and Esau theory. I want to be on record to say that I believe that is part of what has happened. But regardless of that, the point here is that the party members, I'm happy a party leader has come to say his ambition is not at stake. It's not an issue. It better not be. We need to be clear about that. But the party and the House of Assembly needs to do two things. Number one is that they need to truly clarify that his ambition is not at stake, that it's not impersonal, as they say. It's all about process and governance. The other thing is that that's the Assembly that needs to do that. The party needs to come out to make sure that people understand that this is about governance of the House, not party of APC Lagos issue. Because if they don't do that, there is a possibility that the general public think that they're using this to settle some personal score, and that is not good for the party. If because of somebody's ambition the person is removed, it's because the very high-ranking citizen is considered not to toe the line, or some leaders is removed, not because of his competence, not because of his integrity, then we are in trouble. So somehow, I advise those who are in charge of the party and who are in the House to make it very clear that this is not a personal vendetta. Otherwise, the party is going to be in trouble. Because if the public thinks, oh, they've just taken him out because he's not towing a line or because he's ambitious, then everybody's going to look at themselves and say, and including some party members who are not so near to power, they're going to look at them and say, wow, the day we become ambitious, we're not safe. We have to be slaves to some people. That's a dangerous line to toe. That perception needs to be managed.
That's right. So some of the allegations leveled against the former speaker includes the 17 billion naira on constructing the lawmakers' building gate, and then 200 million naira on its recently organized 22nd Thanksgiving service for the staff, and a whole lot of others. But he has the right to fair hearing, because we've heard of this investigation. We haven't seen, or probably privileged to, information that he was asked to defend himself against some of these allegations. What are the legal options you think are there for former Speaker Honorable Obasa to explore in order to fight against any perceived injustice against his own self?
I've always been against people who take their party to court. If you've been a speaker at that level, if really you don't have people inside the same party that you can take matters to, and you have to defer to the court, there's something little about you, no matter the level of injustice. So I won't tell him to take the party or the Assembly to court. I don't believe in that. Obviously, this is my view, but it's up to him. But one thing he can take to the highest level, though, if his hands are clean, is the fact that he's accused of stealing. If he did not steal the 19 billion, if he did not misappropriate or misuse 19 billion, I mean, who uses 19 billion for a gate anyway? What kind of gate is that? If it is true that he's taking 19 billion for a gate, or he spent an unnecessary amount for a party, then he can pursue that. He can say, my reputation has been tarnished and it has cost me my job. There are legal grounds for such a thing. Otherwise, he takes the microphone, he comes to you, and he makes that matter very clear. He doesn't need to lie low on that. But on the political issue, yes, he can deal with that politically if he wants. Otherwise, he just goes away. The other option he has is to decamp to go to another party. If he believes that his party members are not good to him, but we shall see what he does. We can only predict the possible option. So there are three options. It's either he remains loyal quietly, he fights inside, or he exits, or he fights from outside. Those are what is left for him to do.
All right, now a female speaker, the first, has emerged, taking over that position. And the new leadership has said that they are loyal to the executive and will work hand in glove with the executive to move the state forward. What are you looking forward to with this new leadership?
Well, I think I want legislators to be legislators. I understand their intentions, but let me quickly say, for the benefit of those who might become legislators tomorrow, that the expression we're loyal to the executive is a bad expression. It's a petty expression that does not do Montesquieu a favor. After all, we've gone to talk about balance of power. Let us stop using this kind of expression. It is better for legislators to say they'll be independent and committed to progress of their state or of their country, wherever parliamentarians find themselves. That is a better expression. I am happy to have a female speaker. I would want a female governor, a female minister. I'll even hand over the whole country to female, and let's see what they really can do. I'm happy with that. It is not a very great thing that the new speaker comes to impeachment of our former speaker. It would have been good if she was, elected without removing somebody. But, history does not follow my rules. So we wish her very well. We remind her of the alacrity with which she was elected and hope she would handle the House. I think, luckily, this way, she knows already what can happen to those who err. So hopefully she will keep transparency, integrity, and not any misconduct. I will see if she'll arrive on time at every function and follow the protocol, as they say. The president has been said, by the way, we all know it's not the first time they will remove a speaker of Lagos, but removing a speaker is a big thing. And no matter how bad this is, at least it's better the way it is done in some states, where you have 2 or 3 people doing things. We need to look at that as well. But we can't look at what is bad. We need to keep looking at what is good. And I want all the legislators across the country, the female legislator, to now know that it is possible, that they shouldn't be afraid. They should be preparing, but they might take out the speaker in their state soon as well.
Absolutely. Looking on the brighter side, that's a good one. But then, if you look at the ousted speaker, he is very experienced when it comes to the legislative matters in Lagos State, so much so that Lagos State is seen as a poster state assembly, for other states. He has also achieved a lot of things when it comes to legislative duties and all of that. But then, do you think is impeachment and then the emergence of the first female speaker would have any implication on the political stability and functionality of the State House of Assembly? That's one. And the last one is, what are the things that you consider challenges ahead of the female speaker without political interference from maybe the executive or external factors?
Well, I think in terms of the ousted speaker, will he have consequences? I think politically there'll be some consequences. He's a leader in his own right, of his own constituency, and beyond that, with some coalition. Those who know the politics of Lagos will know that Obasa has some kind of influence. It has some sway in some areas. So we'll see how that will play out. A lot depends on how he manages what happens, and a lot depends on how other people manage what follows. By other people, I mean the GAC, I mean the Secretariat in Acme Road, the party chairman, and all other people. I'll be talking to some of these people later on to see what is going on. But, it depends on how he handles that and how they handle that. It also depends a lot for the role of the new speaker on how she handles her role. Difficulties or challenges that she might face will depend on how she positions herself. You say Obasa is experienced. This lady is experienced too. She's been there for a while. And the people of the House know themselves. And because she's been sitting, you know, close to her colleagues and next to the Speaker, she's somewhere in between. So I do not expect any gross difficulty to come out from her taking over her role. Contrary to what people think, being a female, at least in Lagos, is not such a big issue when it comes to this role. She's not one young girl thrown inside the assembly. You know, she's a lady, she's a woman who's been in politics for a while, and these people are colleagues and they're used to referring to her as the deputy speaker, and a lot of times even speaker when she presides. Anybody, I have been, you know, inside the assembly sometime when she was in charge, she was called speaker, you know, so it's not something new to her, it's not something new to them. So I predict an easy transformation, unless, of course, and we go back to those assembly members, unless those assembly members who voted against their speaker are double-faced cowards. I use strong words. But if they are truly men and women of honor who have decided that way, and they are standing by their knowledge or conscience, then the new speaker is their speaker, and there'll be no problem at all.
All right, that would be a fine place to leave the conversation, but just to correct a statement I made earlier, it's not loyalty they used as the word, but said that they would work harmoniously with the executive. So we are looking forward to that. Thank you so much, Professor Anthony Kila, Director, Commonwealth Institute of Advanced and Professional Studies. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Great.